Hello and welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a reading for the week ahead, looking at the current energies, looking at ways to navigate the energy for the collective. So this will be a collective reading for everybody. So as always, take what resonates, leave the rest, and we'll get started with the reading shortly. So before I get into that, I do just want to say I am absolutely loving the energy right now. Since we've had that new moon in Taurus, I'm just like, oh, it's so been the welcomed break that I think we've all really needed. I felt so much of that Taurus energy, and even though the new moon is past and we're in the sort of waxing phase of the moon now, when the moon is actually in Cancer now, I'm still feeling so much Taurus energy. We've got so many planets still in Taurus. We've got Jupiter there, we've got Uranus there, we've still got the sun there, we've got Venus there, and it's its home sign. So it's just like, oh, so good. And we've got Mars in Aries, and Mars in Aries it's also in its home sign. So it's like really, really supportive, and it's really showing us how going first and being willing to make mistakes and be brave. And like I'm really feeling a lot of that as well, of that energy of like, it's okay to go first and to make mistakes, because whenever I do something for the first time, I'm always a bit rubbish at it, right? And I really feel like Mars and Aries is really helping us to learn that and have that bravery and courage, as well as all of this like gentle, soft energy. So type in the comments how it's been for you. I want to know how everyone else has been experiencing this, because I do think there's a few different energies going on. I'm curious to see what the cards are going to say. So for this reading, I'm going to use the Aleister Crowley Thoth Tarot deck, and if you like this deck, there's a link in the description below for you to get some yourself. So looking at the week ahead, collective energies, please. What have we got? That one wants to come out. Kind of not surprised to see that. I'll show you them in a second. Yeah, that one flew out. Lovely. Ah, hello. Oh, so good. Okay. All right. So first of all, here we have Seven of Cups. So having a look at that, seeing what comes through intuitively for you. And we've got Princess of Cups. Again, having a look, seeing what comes through for you. And then this is the one I laughed at. Two of Wands, Dominion. The reason I'm laughing at this is because this is a Mars in Aries card. So I really feel like we're going to be feeling this energy this week. And Two of Wands often speaks as well of like, so Ace of Wands is the beginning of like the spark of some like passion or something that you desire and you're going after, but it's like the spark of it. And then the two is like when it goes more into action. And if you see on this card as well, we've got like two very strong, like solid wands, like ready to go forth. And I just love that this is here, because I'm really feeling this energy already coming through of like, act now, think later. Like Aries is all about just like going first, head first, sort of diving in. And Mars gives us the courage and the bravery to do so. And I love this so much. And then I find this quite funny as well, because we've also got this kind of other energy. Okay, there's the Seven of Cups meaning, and then there's the meaning I often get from this card. When I pull this card, it's often like a feeling of not being very motivated. Like if you look at the cups, they're all a bit sludgy, and the word itself is debauch, and like debauch to me speaks of like debauchery, right? That kind of like just bit carefree, not really that like interested in taking things too seriously. Now that isn't exactly the traditional meaning of this card, but that is often what it means for me, of like sort of sacking things off a little bit. So it's really interesting that we have this duality here, because I do feel very much like that is the energy. There's this sort of really like Taurus that just wants to be slow, wants to be gentle, wants to take its time, wants to enjoy the earthly pleasures and like the sensual, like the taste of food and just really eating. I always get it like with food with Taurus, eating the food really sort of gentle and sensual, like yeah, so like nice music, nice smells, things feeling good on your skin, like all of that stuff is very Taurian. And then you've also got this kind of like going forth sort of energy as well. And then here we've also got Princess of Cups, which to me is really speaking of like, yeah, this kind of gentle, again, quite gentle, watery energy and wanting to, yeah, it's giving me a lot of Pisces energy because we've got here, there's a fish on the card. So Pisces being very creative, wanting to sort of like, it's a creative energy, but it's in this sort of gentler way. So it's not so much like, let's go and like take action and do stuff. It's more like, I'm just going to do a bit of painting today and just like have fun doing that. Like it's really giving me that energy. So we've got like this kind of duality of energies this week. That's finding really interesting. Okay, so potential challenges that we might come across this week ahead, please. Nothing super jumping out right now, so that's a good sign. Really good shuffle. Interesting. Okay, so here we've got the Seven of Wands. So Seven of Wands to me really speaks of like the wounded soldier. So if you look at the card, the wand at the front has got a few notches like in the wand. So it's like, it kind of speaks of like someone who's been to war, been to battle, had a few knocks, had a few like scars along the way, but they're still standing strong. So with this being a challenge, maybe for some of you, it's feeling a little bit like still having to go on, and that's quite tough to want to keep going on this week. So there's something here about maybe just needing to be a little bit, it feels like we might have to keep sort of going, but still being gentler with ourselves through that. It's not a time to rest exactly. We are in the sort of like, we've just come out of the new moon and now things are starting to pick up. So it doesn't feel like a total week of absolute rest, but yeah, it might feel a bit like, oh, just still feeling that frazzled from April, really. There's a bit of a fallout energy from that. And I honestly, I'm feeling that a little bit as well of like, oh, do we have to keep going? and the answer is yes, but we do need to take a lot of rest in amongst that as well. It's like doing things in a more sustainable way. That's what Taurus is really here to teach us. And that is the season we're in. So the best parts for the week ahead, please. What's the best part of this week for the collective? What message wants to come? Oh, there's quite a few there. Probably a bit too many. Pop them back, see if one comes back out. Best part of the week, please. Okay, so I saw that one before, so I'm going to take that. That was one of the ones that came out of the too many of them, if that makes sense. And here we've got 10 of Wands, oppression. So this is interesting that this is in the best part of the week, or like something to look forward to this week. I think that's really interesting that this is here. So this card really speaks of putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. It has a lot of meanings, but one of the meanings, and the meaning I certainly take away from this whenever I pull this card, is that, and actually this has been coming up a lot in the readings, is that there's a lot of, yeah, putting pressure on ourselves to make things happen, and like having too many responsibilities, holding all of the wands. In traditional tarot, he's holding all of the wands. And with this being the best part, it might be that we're kind of letting go of some of this energy now, or it's going to be a little bit easier to actually let that go and not take too much responsibility. Honestly, what I'm hearing, and something that's been coming up in readings and something that's been coming up even personally, is this real need for more ease and like doing things in a different way, things not being so stressful and like pushing, and allowing things to come in and to receive and to be the receivers rather than to always be the go-getters. We need to be the go-givers. That's interesting that I said that. And doing things in a different way. So releasing some of this kind of like overburdening ourselves. It's like, yes, we have responsibility. Yes, Mars and Aries is here, but we need to sort of, we have been through a lot, you know, we've been through a lot, and we can't always be on in this kind of unsustainable pushing sort of a way. And I really think that that's what this season is here to show us and teach us, and to step into a gentler way of doing things, which I love. I love this so much. Okay, so guidance to navigate the week ahead, please. What is the guidance? How should we navigate this? Interesting. I'm going to get another one, actually. I feel like I need two. Yeah, lovely. Okay. And there's also the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. That feels important. Okay, so interestingly, we've got here 8 of Swords. Now, normally this has a different meaning for me, but what I'm getting is that here we've got the Jupiter glyph in Gemini, and Jupiter is just about to move into Gemini. And I wonder if that's what this is speaking of, because that was my immediate thought, because traditionally this kind of means more like interfering thoughts. Like Jupiter is the planet of plenty, of abundance, of luck, of optimism, but yeah, things being a lot. And then Gemini, in its shadowy sort of aspect, can be overthinking, overanalyzing, like too many thoughts buzzing around. So that's what this card often speaks of, like too much sort of interfering thoughts, and like allowing ourselves to sort of like get out of them. It asks us to kind of get out of the mind and back into the body, because this is when we're too caught up in our minds and sort of like what if scenarios and things going wrong, and just not getting caught up in scarcity and lack. But I feel like with Jupiter going into Gemini this month, I can't remember exactly when it is actually, but it's coming in very soon, that there's something significant about that, like getting prepared for the shift from Jupiter in Taurus to Jupiter in Gemini, because Jupiter does stay in it's a sign for a really long time. It can be like a year or more. So this is a really significant shift. And we'll talk more about that in a different reading, and like what Jupiter in Taurus and Jupiter in Gemini, the difference and all that stuff. But that feels like a different video. So there may be something here about like getting ready for this new big shift that's coming. And then we've also got here, which is a really nice card, 6 of Wands. So being like in victory, well, it's a victorious card. So like it feels like it's asking us to remember that we are already successful, like not getting caught up. If some of you are kind of getting caught up in this energy and like this sort of like, yeah, just a lot of mental anguish, then it's like remembering that you are powerful. There's a lot of power here, actually. We've got quite a lot of Wands, because we've got here 2 of Wands, 7 of Wands, and 10 of Wands. So lots of Wands here. And I said I didn't know about the Emperor being at the bottom of the deck, which once again, Emperor is an Aries card. Look, it's ruled by Aries, this card. So there is something here about like Aries being quite an important influence this week. And with it being in its home sign, that feels is helpful when it's in its home sign. It's easier going. So yeah, so just remembering your own power. That feels really important, actually. Yeah, for some of you, this might be quite a specific message, but it feels like you have been really doubting yourself and not been really sure, because Aries is the one that starts things, and it's because it's the beginning. It can feel, and there's been a lot of like beginnings energy recently as well. it can feel quite uncertain, because it's like we don't know what we don't know yet. And when things are new, it's like, can I do this? Am I capable of this? Can I live up to this? Like, there's all of this energy has been asking us to like really step up and level up in our lives. And it's like, what comes with that sometimes is this like doubt energy of like, can I actually handle this? Do I actually have this? And I think this week we're going to really start to see that we actually do. If you're not already feeling that we are more capable than we realize, and we're going to start really seeing that more and more. But we also have to believe in it ourselves. We do have to believe in that. And we also have to, where we can, embody the energy of ease. Like, things don't have to be as hard as we maybe are making them to be. Like, I know I can be very guilty of this, of like making things harder than they need to be, and getting in this 10 of Wands energy, where actually it's like, just ask for more help. Like, pray, ask for help, call in your team. Don't do it all alone. Like, you don't need to hold all the sticks. That feels like really important to say, that you just don't have to do all of this by yourself. You've been through a lot already. And what I love about this card as well is that it reminds us that we are really powerful. Like, sometimes we do have to go to war, and we do have to go to battle to see what we're really capable of, to see that we can actually rise to the challenge. Like, we might be like, oh, I don't want things to be hard, and I'm scared, and it's difficult. But without those challenges, we don't see what we're made of. We don't see our capacity. We don't see, our dominion, our ability to accomplish things. But it is quite a mixed message, because we do also have this kind of like, yes, see how capable you are, Mars in Aries, and also be a receiver. You don't have to do all of it this way. It's both. And I really feel like what this particular transit of Mars being in Aries and Venus being in Taurus is really here to teach us and show us is how to integrate both this masculine and feminine way of being. Because I don't really believe it's one or the other. I don't think we need to only be pushing and striving and forcing and courage, all the courage and all that stuff. Like, that stuff is great. And the receiving and the taking it easier and being gentler and kind of being in that more Venus energy of like pleasure is also really important. But one without the other creates problems, right? It's just more of how we balance these two energies together. And I think that that's really coming into focus this week. Oh, I love it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull a few more cards from the Starseed Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell. And again, if you like this deck, the link for these will be in the description below, so you can get some. Okay, so some additional. Ooh, I nearly pinged it in my face there. Gosh, one fell out already. That was quick. All right, I've not shuffled them yet, so I'll pop those back in. But they are jumpy. What messages for this week ahead? For some guidance, please, for those watching. What messages want to come through? Do you know what? I feel like, oh my gosh, we've got 3 here. Oh, love this. Okay, do you know what? I'm going to take these 3. It felt like they all wanted to come out. So here we've got Empathic Starseed, Energetic Sovereignty, Absorbing What's Not Yours. Love this. Okay, so another, right. What Aries, Mars in Aries really teaches us is about boundaries. It's a really, really good sign. Again, this is like the magic of this particular transit, of this particular sort of like lesson of what it's trying to teach us. So it's really something this week you might need to be really good with boundaries and learning about boundaries and not taking on other people's stuff. Because again, look at this, like there's a crop. I actually love how literal this is. It's like almost like no, like we need to get better with our no. That's what this is here to teach us, how we can say no. Like Mars and Aries is a lot about desire, what I want, what is important to me. And in order to do that and to sort of go after our desire and our passion and what matters to us, we need to have boundaries. Otherwise, we're going to get soaked in. That's a weird way of putting it. What am I trying to say? Sucked in. That's the one. Sucked in by other people's stuff and them like wanting a piece of you. And you have to be like, no, like I want this. And that's what Aries really understands very well. And if you know any Aries, you'll know that. Okay, love that. So here we've got, you're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness, face your true north. Again, seems kind of similar, like this sort of be who you want to be. Like, it does feel like we really are stepping into this new level, this new way of being, this new version of ourselves. And it's okay, because for some of you, this might be what's bringing up some fear, bringing up some of this uncertain energy that we were talking about, where you're like, yeah, but what if people don't like me? What if people aren't, what if I actually show more of who I am and people reject me? That feels like an energy that's been sneaking around recently. And the truth is, some people aren't going to like you, but that is totally okay. We're not supposed to be liked by everybody. And maybe the inquiry here, if that resonates for you and that's been something that's coming up for you, is to go, what is it about, like, where did I learn that I needed to be liked by everybody? Because the truth is, we don't like everybody. And yet there is this sort of feeling of like, yeah, if I'm liked by everyone and then I'll be happy. It's like, no, like if you are held on by this need to be liked by everybody, then you're not going to be able to be your whole self, the fullest expression of you. And we need your fullest expression. Feels like someone needed to hear that. We need all of you, even the weird parts, even the messy parts, because the people that love that really want to see that. Like they love that, all of that. And then there'll be people that don't, and that's okay. Let them, because it isn't about you anyway. Because even if you're being your weird self, being your whole self, the people that comment on it are like, oh no, I don't like that. It grosses them out, it disgusts them, it makes them angry, it upsets them. It's only showing a mirror of something in themselves that they don't like in them. It's not about you, it's about them. And this is also true for us when we're triggered by somebody else and we're like, oh, I don't like that. The inquiry is like, oh, what's in me that I haven't learned to accept, not even accept, but to love, to really like find adorable, amusing. This is where shadow work comes in. Because that's what it's really about. It's not about them. They're just shining a light on something in me that I have rejected, that I don't want to see, that I don't like, because some part of me doesn't feel safe in being that version of me. So let's talk about this a little bit more. This feels really important. So for example, like if somebody was, I don't know, being really loud and they're being really big and they're being really sort of like flamboyant or something in some way, just like, that kind of big energy, Leo energy, right, is what makes me think of. But you learned that being big and loud was dangerous and that your caregivers were like, this is not okay. We don't like this. Stop it. Get smaller. And then your brain, when you're like a little kid, for some reason, getting a 9-year-old, some of you, that might be when it happened. I don't know why I'm getting 9. That's for someone listening. You learned at that age, like, okay, like me being big and loud creates disconnection with my caregivers. Therefore, it is not safe for me to be big and loud, and I'm going to shut that down. And you may not have even been consciously aware that that's what you were doing, but that's what happened. And then when somebody else is being big and loud, when you're like triggered by it and you're like, ugh, I don't like it, stop it, ugh, yuck. It's not necessarily that you don't like it, it's that you're concerned for their safety. So when people are calling you out and they're saying like, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, it's because they're concerned for their own safety. It's not about them. Like the other person might be totally fine, they're happy, they want to be that way, but someone else calling it out is concerned about themselves in some way. So anyway, maybe that is enough about that point, but it feels really important to say because so many of us don't put ourselves out there because of this exact fear. And the truth is, it's not even about you. Like, you're not for everyone. It's like, yes, That's true. And that's okay. That's totally okay. You can not only be okay with it, but you can like love the fact that that is true. You know, there's a thing called the Poison Lojong that I absolutely love, which is a prayer. Is it a prayer? It's a ritual of sorts that basically says, may I like enjoy the resentment of all beings. It's like we can actually consume the joy of like not being liked. Anyway, that's again not for this video, but that's a really been a very powerful thing to help me overcome my own sort of need to be liked. And I'm a Libra rising, so I really have a lot of that. Everyone like me, but anyway, like it doesn't serve me. I wouldn't be doing these videos if that was the case, right? Okay, so last card we've got here is the Golden Children. In inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. And I'm really drawn by this portal here. And this really feels like Mars. Something like like there's so much Mars energy again. And yeah, so I'm feeling like there's also, I saw at the bottom of the deck here, portal. Doors are opening, you decide, rewards, wild card. Oh, I got shivers when I heard that. Oh, I love it. Yeah, portal energy. There's something about needing to step through the portal, but we have to get past this you're not for everyone energy, embracing your weirdness, having those boundaries. Like Aries is here to help us with all of this, to have those boundaries, to embrace who we truly are, being our real selves. And then that will, think of it as like a kind of filter, right? To get you closer to the people that you actually want to be close to, right? Because the more you are yourself, the more you attract the right people. There's nothing wrong with people that don't like you. I'm not saying that. It's just more like it's going to be the beacon for people that do want, like, and you'll have more richer, deeper connections and more satisfaction in your life the more you become who you are. And yes, it become more polarizing, but that's okay. And then through that, we'll get some huge like up level and like huge shifts, and doors are opening. There's something about this, like new opportunities coming in. The more we embrace who we are, the more abundance we let in, the more magic we allow to happen, the more so much. Oh, I love it. You decide, but you decide. Reward, wild card. I love the wild card nature as well, the chaos. Ooh, we'll see what could happen on the other side of that portal. Stepping into the unknown and trusting that you'll be caught and just having like an amazing time with it. Just go through the door. Just go through the door. Look, she's so close. Look at how awesome it is behind. Oh, I love it. I'm getting tingly. Okay, so I think that's everything for the reading this week. Thank you so much for being here, for your time and attention. I hope that was insightful. I would love to hear your reflections in the comments. And if you do like this content, liking, commenting, subscribing, all of that stuff allows you to get more of this content on your feed. So thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.